New details tonight on an explosive new claim about 28 highly classified pages from the 9/11 report that could prove our allies in Saudi Arabia may have been helping the attackers. The pages have been locked up for 13 years, viewed only by a select few. And now some of those folks want them released.
I think it is implausible to believe that 19 people, most of whom didn't speak English, most of whom had never been in the United States before, many of whom didn't have a high school education, could have carried out such a complicated task without some support from within the United States.
And you believe that the 28 pages are crucial to this?
I think they are a key part.
The 9/11 Commission report says that Saudi Arabia has long been considered the primary source of al-Qaeda funding through its wealthy citizens and charities with significant government sponsorship. But the sentence that got the most attention when the report came out is this: "We have found no evidence that the Saudi government as an institution or senior Saudi officials individually funded the organization." Attorney Sean Carter says it's the most carefully crafted line in the 9/11 Commission report and the most misunderstood.
When they say that we found no evidence that senior Saudi officials individually funded al-Qaeda, they conspicuously leave open the potential that they found evidence that people who were officials that they did not regard as senior officials had done so.
John Lehman, who was Secretary of the Navy in the Reagan administration, says that he and the others make up a solid majority of former 9/11 commissioners who think the 28 pages should be made public.
It was no accident that 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. They all went to Saudi schools. They learned from the time they were first able to go to school of this intolerant brand of Islam.
CBS and 60 Minutes doing an explosive report there. Bob Graham is the former chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and the former co-chair of the bipartisan Joint Congressional Inquiry into Intelligence Failures surrounding the 9/11 attacks. Great to see you, sir. Thank you for being with us here tonight. So you want these 28 pages released. You've seen them. What are you at liberty to tell us about them?
Not much, because I am still under a oath that I took not to disclose classified information, but it has been said publicly that this chapter primarily relates to who financed 9/11 and that it points a finger at Saudi Arabia.
When you look at that statement that was in the 9/11 report saying we found no evidence that the Saudi government as an institution or senior Saudi officials individually funded the organization, you could drive a truck through that sentence. There are a lot of holes in there. Senior Saudi officials, which doesn't rule out non-senior Saudi officials or the government as something other than acting as an institution.
And one of the things that makes this even more confusing is that the concept of sovereign immunity, that is that the king can do no wrong and therefore you cannot sue the king, has been used by Saudi Arabia not only to cover the official government, but also charities, private foundations, religious organizations. All have been put under the umbrella of sovereign immunity. So the question of where does the government end and the rest of the Saudi society begin is very murky.
So that explains their motivation for trying to, potentially obfuscate the facts. But what is our motivation? Why would the United States not be releasing this information and letting us all know whether our allies were in fact behind this attack?
Megan, I think that's inexplicable. There were some reasons to suggest why under the Bush administration they might have wanted to have avoided this disclosure, such as we were looking to Saudi Arabia for a substantial amount of intelligence and other assistance in the period after 9/11. The Bush family had a close relationship with the House of Saud going back for 3 generations. But why under the Obama administration they have continued this policy when there is mounting evidence, not just the 28 pages, but other issues that have involved the Saudis in 9/11, which to me makes it not only disrespectful to the American people, not to allow them to have the transparency of knowing what their government has done in their name when it does not involve a national security risk. And in fact, I think it actually increases our vulnerability, because it allows the Saudis to continue feeling that there's no sanction against them to fund terrorist activities and to train the next generation of terrorists in mosque and madrasas, schools that are financed by Saudi Arabia.
The White House is reviewing it again to see whether declassification is appropriate. We'll stay on it. Senator, thank you for being here.
Great. Thank you very much.